By now, you probably heard about the attack in Moscow, Russia. Well, this attack is actually prompting many lawmakers to reconsider what they are doing and what their priority is at this time. Here in the United States, we have a lot of issues. We have a U.S. southern border problem where illegal immigrants are entering the United States border, coming into the U.S., getting certain benefits, and it's upsetting millions and millions of people. But at the same time, we have no clue where these people are coming from or what their intention is here in the United States. Well, this is prompting some lawmakers and specifically senators to say that they are highly concerned and the U.S. is at risk of grave danger. So I want to address this in just a moment. All I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. So we are actually going to go through an article from The Hill. This article, which came out just this morning, I want to show it to you. It says GOP senators raise concerns about ISIS attacks against Americans after Moscow shooting. Now, there's a lot of people that are concerned about what could potentially happen here in the United States. And a lot of it is stemming from what has just taken place. Because again, why are people being targeted in other countries? Why are we here in the United States, as of right now, considered safe? Now let's read this. It says Senators Tom Cotton, he's a Republican from Arkansas, and Marco Rubio, a Republican from Florida, said Sunday that they were deeply worried about an ISIS terrorist attack targeting Americans. They're worried because of what we have done in the past. And I don't think people have ever forgotten that. Let's go ahead and read this. It says, both senators lampooned President Biden's foreign policy in the wake of the attack. The ISIS-K group believed to be responsible was the same that killed 14 American service members and over 170 Afghans in a Kabul suicide bombing as the U.S. military left Afghanistan in 2021. All right, here Senator Tom Cotton goes on to say, it's deeply regrettable that innocent civilians, women and children were killed in Moscow, but the next attacks can be against an American embassy in Asia or in Europe, or against students traveling to Europe on a school trip for spring break. Again, this is a very dangerous echo of President Biden's failed withdrawal from Afghanistan, and he goes and calls this a grave danger. Now, I want to touch on a few things. Is an ISIS terrorist group potentially going to target a American tourist group going over to Europe for a school trip, right? Could they? Yes. Will they? Based off reports, based off of, the probability of this happening, it's very low. But it doesn't have to be something that is a high probability to happen. All it takes is one person, one attack, 1%. That's it. That is it. And this is why many lawmakers are very concerned with this recent attack. Is where does that put the United States? Where does that put us? Because keep in mind, our border has not been 100% secure. We have no clue where people are going because as people enter into Texas, Texas is now busing them and sending them on planes to New York and Chicago. They're sending them to Denver. Pretty much anywhere somebody wants to go, they can go. Because guess what's happening? You get on a bus and you get bused from Texas up to New York. In New York, they're offering you a one-way ticket to a sanctuary city of your choice. You can go anywhere. You can go to anywhere you want to go. You can go to California, you can go to Washington, you can go to Georgia, anywhere you want to go, pick a sanctuary city, they will fly you there. Absolutely free. It's on the taxpayer dollar. That's why it's concerning, is because if somebody wants to attack us, a potential, somebody that is somewhat connected with ISIS, they could. Somebody that's connected with Hezbollah, they could, right? The Chinese Communist Party, they could. That's the worry. It says down here, this is from Senator Rubio. He says ISIS-K reconstituted itself as we warned would happen when we had this disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. It goes on to say, one of the reasons why we didn't want to withdraw precipitously is because you gave them an operating space to reorganize themselves and plan externally. And since that time, they've attacked inside of Afghanistan. It goes on to say they conducted an attack inside of Iran not too long ago. And now this one in Russia. And they'll do it here in the homeland. The concern is that this is not going to stop. We continue to see certain groups attack another party in order to establish credibility, in order to establish some type of power. This is what we're seeing. Experts and people in the Pentagon are saying that this is not going to subside. This is actually going to increase. Tensions are going to increase. These conflicts are going to continue. There are too many wars happening. Some of these wars, obviously, we know about. Others are very, very minimal. Like, we don't hear a lot about them on mainstream media because they don't really impact us. But they will. The big wars right now, Russia against Ukraine and Israel against Hamas in Gaza. Those are the big wars. The United States against Iran in the Middle East, that's not as big as it once was. Right? The U.S. against China. Well, there's tensions there. There's potential conflicts, but that's not something that we are really being too concerned with yet, because they say China and the United States have no interest in going into war against one another. We just don't. The United States against Russia, yes, Russia's highly concerned and has threatened the United States, but as the United States knows, Russia does not want to go into war with the United States. They just don't want to do it. Russia is struggling to just take over Ukraine. If Russia were to attack the United States, the reports indicate that it would have to be a nuclear attack, because anything less than that would not be enough. So all I can tell you right now is the concerns are there. There's a massive warning. I want to read you one last thing. It says, common sense tells you if they run a trafficking network of people that will most certainly use it to move operations or operatives into the United States. So I'm not claiming there's an imminent threat to the U.S., but I am saying that the border situation and the existence of that network is a threat to the United States. Again, it has nothing to do with what's really going on, but the potential open border, the existence of a network that would attack the United States, that's the threat. Because, and again, I bring this up because we've heard it from the FBI, we've heard it from Homeland Security, that the concern right now is that China, Russia, Iran, they've already set up operations here inside the United States. All they're waiting on right now is for tensions to increase, the conflict to really get going, and a potential war to break out. And then they will activate the people here inside the U.S. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen moving forward. All I can tell you is that there are a lot of warnings on the table, a lot of warning signs, and we need to be prepared for whatever may come. So the one thing I can promise you is I will be here every step of the way. I'll fill you in on all the latest news and updates. But as of today, that is what we know. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.